Think gadget reviews, news, and all about it.
Samsung Galaxy Note 5 review. It makes us double sad that the Samsung Galaxy Note 5 is not coming to the UK yet. We've got to settle for the still excellent Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge Plus. You know what? It should. In this age of curvy edge phones, this feels all the more like a supersized Samsung Galaxy S6. And we're definitely up for some of that action. As ever, there's a pen that slots into the bottom too, but you don't need to be a wannabe artist to appreciate this phone. Honey, I blew up the Galaxy S6. I've already said the Note 5 is like a Giganto Galaxy S6, but it's not quite as simple as that. Samsung has taken some of the Edge series design chops and bunged them in. And it works. Rather than having a mostly flat back, the Note 5's rear feels, weirdly enough, a bit like the front of the S6 Edge. It curves around at the sides. It's lovely contouring stuff that makes more of the glass factor than the Galaxy S6. That's right, just like the other latest Galaxy phones, the front and back of the Note 5 are Gorilla Glass 4. Elsewhere, the sides are covered by a band of metal. Not a chrome Y1 like in the bad old days of Samsung's awkward faux metal phase, but a matte finish one that keeps the look classy. After years of getting its phone's designs a bit wrong, like an ant buying you a jumper designed for someone a good decade older, younger, Samsung is finally nailing its aesthetics. The one little niggle is that the power button on the side seems to cycle between feeling very soft and nice and clicky. It's meant to be the latter. Hopefully it's just our unit afflicted. Finger care. We've also reached a point where a phone like the Samsung Galaxy Note 5 doesn't need to feel totally massive. It's big, sure, but it doesn't get on my wick like the Nexus 6. Part of this is because Samsung has flicked around the back and recent taps soft keys. I use back about 700 times a day, but the other one generally only when an app is misbehaving, or when I'm browsing, generally a two-handed affair anyway. So much for Android multitasking, eh? The Note 5 is perhaps a notch classier than the Samsung Galaxy S6, but most of the key elements are the same. The fingerprint scanner is one of them. Just rest whatever digit you teach the Note 5 on the pad, the central soft key, and you can unlock the phone without any pins or weird gestures. It works a treat, and Samsung also lets you use it to authorize payments and other bits. The one part I kinda wish the Note 5 hadn't nicked from the Galaxy S6 is its lack of microSD card slot. As a phone that feels perfect for enthusiasts, having fixed, non-expandable memory is a bummer. Even if most buyers complaining would probably end up loading it with pirated movies. Is the pen ahead of the curve? Most of the Note 5's geeked is intact, though, because it still has the digitizer stylus that earns this series its name. An ultra-skinny pen slots into the bottom of the phone, so subtly you could easily think it's not there. The phone itself is still crazy thin at 7.6mm, after all. So what can it do? The Note 5's stylus software and hardware have been redesigned since the Note 4, but it's largely business as usual. There's a button on the side of the pen, and when pressed it brings up an Air command menu, featuring up to 6 shortcuts, some of which can be customized to launch any app you like. S Pen favorites are things like S-Note, Samsung's long-standing note-taker. A few third-party apps are optimized for pressure-sensitive stylus use too, though, like Autodesk's Sketchbook. I've liked the Note series ever since it began, but aside from the odd spout of doodling, I've not found a real use for it. Having a think about whether you will. Don't just fool yourself. If you like the feel, though, you can pretty much use the Note 5 pen to operate the phone completely. It even works on the soft keys, something Samsung introduced in the Note 3. The new hardware bit is the clicker on the end of the pen. It seems a pure tactility thing. As far as we can tell, it doesn't do anything and may cause no electronic signal at all. But it gives you a nice click as you move it in and out of the phone's body. It's about making the stylus feel right, and that it does. If you're a bit of a doodler, we think you'll like it. Years of tweaking have gone into this little pen, and in the Note 5 the experience is great, giving just the right level of resistance as you drag the rubberized nib across the display. OLED bliss. I think the screen itself is more of a benefit to the Note 5 really, though. As with the S6 and S6 Edge, it's pretty fantastic. In classic Note series style, it's 5.7 in across, and this year you get 2560 by 1440 pixels. While that's the same resolution as the much smaller S6, 518p is enough to keep everything looking perfectly sharp unless you really push your eyeball against the screen, when you can pick up some of the classic pentile granularity. For the non-turbo geeks out there, Samsung's OLED screens use a pentile screen arrangement that reduces how sharp a screen looks a bit. However, it helps Samsung's OLEDs live longer. Quality-wise, the screen is terrific. Contrast is perfect, it's nice and bright. Outdoors visibility is top-notch, and with a bit of tweaking the colors are excellent. Fresh out of the box, the Note 5 is pretty oversaturated, too much for my eyes at any rate. However, the custom basic screen mode gets you ultra-natural looking colors if, like me, you prefer your screen to look a little more relaxed. Having been using the Note 5 for a good bit of gaming and video watching too, the upgrade in screen size from the 5.1 in S6 is no small deal. If you're after a Netflix and iPlayer machine, this blows its smaller brother out of the water. The one thing I did notice is how the larger screen does show up one of the few little lingering problems with Samsung's phone OLEDs. When viewed from an angle, the Note 5's whites go a little bit blue. If you hold the phone leaning back, it looks like there's a very slight pink to blue gradient when you're looking at a plain white screen. Straight on, it's just about perfect, though. Snapdragon killer. So is the CPU. Like the Galaxy S6, the Note 5 uses the Samsung Exynos 7420 CPU, an octa-core processor with 4 2.1 GHz Cortex-A57 power cores. You might think this CPU would be getting on a bit, but it's still just about the best processor you can get. It's better than the Snapdragon 810 used in phones like the HTC One M9, and that has nothing to do with any pro-Samsung mood I'm in. It's technically better, using smaller, more efficient transistors. This is why the Note 5 can rev all the way up to 2.1 GHz, without getting too hot. This phone stays much cooler than most of the competition when covering light tasks like browsing the web. Lots of other phones still get pretty toasty after a while just doing this, but having spent part of my time stuck on a 3-hour megabus journey from London to Norwich with little more than the Note 5 for comfort, I can confirm it stays nice and cool most of the time. Can't say we don't know how to live, eh? Samsung's latest software also feels a bit snappier than default Android Lollipop 5.1. Lollipop takes on the style of a Lush lounge singer, sort of slinking between parts of the interface rather than zapping between them like Android 4.4 KitKat. TouchWiz aims for a sort of middle ground, for a mix of speed and smoothness. It works well. And while I've used Samsung phones that have gradually gotten slower after weeks of use, that's yet to happen to the Note 5. Geekbench 3 shows you quite how powerful it is too. On the first run it scored 5,120 points, whereas Snapdragon 810 usually gets you around 4,400. After subsequent runs it reached even 5,302 points. Funnily enough, this is more than I got out of the Galaxy S6 Edge Plus, even though they have the same specs. Why? Who knows? Just rest assured this is an amazing powerhouse, and one that really feels like it can handle what it's packing under the hood rather than struggling to keep it in check. Shades of David Bailey. Coming back to the Samsung Exynos 7420 CPU is nice, but returning to Samsung's top-end mobile phone camera is pure joy. It seems pretty much exactly the same as what you get in the Galaxy S6 and S6 Edge, but I'm not complaining.